Hello and welcome. I'm Joy, and you're listening to Pilates Perspectives. Today we have Jessica Vallant, who will speak on cultivating community through movement. But first, let's check in. So I was thinking today, as I was in my car drinking a coffee in Jessica's honor, we'll talk about that later. I was thinking today about the word perspectives. And I was also thinking that how we show up in our own lives is really about our perspective or our own personal view on the world around us. So let's take a moment, shall we, and check in with where you are. You might be at the park, you might be at work, you might be cooking, you might be running after your kids or shopping in a shopping center. Wherever you are, just take a second and look at the scene around you. And now I'm going to ask you to maybe pass a little judgment. Yeah, you heard me. Pass judgment. So look around and think like maybe, gosh, the sun is like, it's glaring in my eyes. Or why is that guy standing there? Or that dog looks like a floppy Muppet. And then stop and look at the same scene and change the perspective. Maybe it's a beautiful day. Maybe you're wondering, gee, I hope that person has a ride home. Or maybe you're looking at the dog and thinking, wow, that's one cute floppy puppy. So much of what we see and how we show up starts with us. And yes, stuff happens all the time. And stuff happens to shake our beliefs and our perspectives. But in the end, we might not be able to change the outside world. All we can change is how we show up. Today we have with us Jessica Vallant. I'm very excited for this conversation, and she is a woman who wears many hats. She's a Pilates instructor, a physical therapist, a mother, a women's health specialist. She loves coffee and much more. We have Jessica today to talk about how getting ourselves moving can help open the door to the community experience that we all crave. You can find Jessica at jessicavallant.com or at the handle at Jessica S. Vallant on social media. She also has her own podcast. Jessica, what's the name of your podcast?
Meet Your Body.
Meet Your Body, which I think is a perfect place for us to start our conversation today. So, Jessica, I want to start with your podcast, Meet Your Body. So tell me more.
I have had YouTube for quite a while. And I found, so I'm a talker. I should back up and say that.
Oh, see, pretty much. We have coffee in common and now we have talking in common.
Like some of the most common comments that I get are, this person talks a lot in the videos. I'm like, yeah, I'm a Pilates teacher.
Yeah, there you go. And you know what? I hope they know you can't count either.
Yeah, no, I cannot count. And I realized that there was something about podcasting, just the longer form content that allowed me to get into the subjects that mattered a lot to me, which then opened up doors to bringing in experts and talking to really interesting, amazing people about topics that really mattered to me. And so we have 110 episodes. We've been out a couple years and I love it. I mean, it really is one of my favorite things.
110 episodes. Yeah. How do you prioritize in any given season what you're interested in sharing?
That's a great question, and I'm still working on it. I'm still working on the batching and the things everyone talks about. A lot of it is my community bringing questions to me. So I realize when I'm getting common questions from people, I need to address it, whether it's a YouTube video or a podcast. It means a lot of people are asking the same thing. And sometimes it's just what I'm experiencing in life. I tend to be pretty open and vulnerable about what I'm going through. And so I know if I have questions about it, other people probably do too. So I'll throw it out there.
All right. So you just said what your community brings to you. Yeah. So let's unpack community. So for you, your professional community, your Pilates peeps, where are they coming from?
So I have, yes, my Pilates people, which tend to be my colleagues. I mean, like you, everyone here that I saw before we even started, and so many people I've met through the industry who I adore. And so that's kind of a part of my community. And then another part of my community is I have a membership site and an app. And so we have a great community there. And then I have over 1 million followers on social media on various platforms. And so I really consider that a community also, because I just take that role very seriously. I feel like it
A
is a
million
lot.
followers. I
Yeah,
mean, that
it's
makes me nervous. That's like a lot of responsibility right there.
it feels like it, only in that I feel very privileged to have that place and to have that platform. And so
Uh-huh.
I want to take it seriously and try to cultivate as much community as we can, because I do feel like we have lost a lot online
Yes.
from in-person connection. And so I try as much as I can to take that in-person connection and bring it online.
So let's unpack that a little bit. I mean, all joking aside, like 1 million followers is a lot of
Yeah.
responsibility. It's 1 million people who find what you have to say valuable to them and meaningful to them. How do you create that in-person feeling in sort of that online packaging?
That's a really good question. I think some of it is, so I'm 47 years old. I'm not afraid to say it. I am definitely on the older spectrum of social media people. So when I opened my studio, I mean, we had Yelp. That's all we had. And
I know.
I did not even know how to use Yelp, but that was it. There was nothing else.
Yeah.
And so my entire life was as a physical therapist, seeing 20 patients a day, seeing their families, hearing their fears, teaching them to move in person. And then I opened the Pilates studio, and it was the same thing. And so when I put my first video up, I only knew how to teach in that way. Like, I only knew how to say what I assumed that person at home was feeling because I had seen it in person.
Right.
I had laid hands on people before.
You were able to empathize.
Exactly. And use cues. And I kind of knew what they were probably thinking, trying to do leg circles for the first time, right? I could say, you might be hearing a pop in your hip right now. This is what that means. This is how to correct it. And so I really think taking that in-person experience automatically allowed me to meet people a little bit where they were, even though it was their living rooms. And now it's easy to lose sight of that because it's been years since I've really done a lot in person, but I have to always bring myself back to that memory. I am still talking to a single person in their living room right now. Like, what are their fears? What are their needs? What are their goals? It's not a mass of people. It is a lot of individuals, and we all still have a lot of fears and have a lot of needs and have a lot of desires.
How do you think your experiences these last several years have shaped that?
So physically, yes, I was diagnosed with breast cancer almost 2 years ago exactly. Went through a mastectomy. And that, along with, I mean, just the world feeling like it is pulling us apart. I think I go back to that memory of, okay, I have been through something and I'm not alone though in it. Like, this might be my platform, but it's only because, again, I have the privilege of having a microphone in front of me. Everybody listening has been through something as well.
Right.
And so I can share what I've been through, and maybe someone will connect. And when I went through that journey, it was really people reaching out. And I know you've been there and you know too, people reaching out saying, you know what, this was the drain holder I used. Let me send you a link to it. Let me send you a free sweatshirt.
Right.
This is a quilt that I am bringing to you. I had made for you. And so even though we can't always see each other in person, we can still try to have those connections online. And I feel like even just sharing my story might be a little way to connect with other people.
You know, I opened up with this idea of perspectives and, you know, how we show up and we can't really change the circumstances. You couldn't change that you had cancer. But how you showed up, how you shared opened the door to others sharing with you.
Yeah.
That's a really meaningful approach, not just to cancer, but to life. I think it's also a hallmark for who you are, right? I mean, you just look at your website and it's like you've been invited into a little snapshot of your loves, your family, and being outside and coffee.
Yes, always.
But how do you think that perspective on life really opens up the idea of community, for community to find you?
I think, and I always like to tell people, I don't think everyone needs to share in that way necessarily. So don't feel pressure if you're at home thinking, oh my gosh, I went through this personally.
Right. Now I need to let everybody know.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I think everyone, because there are stories I don't share necessarily, but somehow being a physical therapist, talking about bodies, I feel like, it would be not real of me to not share what I've gone through with my body, and to show that the hardships actually have then led to why I have such a partnership with my body now. And so the community, I think, comes from a building of trust. I feel like the people I work with can trust that, oh, she's been there. She understands. When she says that this is hard, she really knows it is. And then when she says, oh, look at, she's feeling strong today, she really is feeling strong today. Like there's some kind of trust that I think that they have in me, knowing I'm not going to give them BS. Like this is, it's hard. It's great and it's hard, right? Like both. That's what life is, and that's what our bodies are too.
You know, that partner, so a number of things that you touch on that I feel like could be conversations unto themselves is so in building this idea of community, I think we think just putting a group of people together under some umbrella is what builds the community. But I think through conversations like this and being in experiences, shared experiences, that the community happens organically through trust. You create a trusting, safe space for people, sharing, listening, and in many ways allowing yourself to be vulnerable. You know, you agree with those?
Yes.
Is there anything I'm missing there?
I think one other piece that we tend to miss, especially if you're a teacher, if you're running classes, is you do have some responsibility to create, and I don't know if the word is boundaries or if it's some groundwork on what that safe space looks like. I think that sometimes is missed, that if you are a leader trying to create community in any way, shape, or form, it might be your family, it might be Pilates studio, you do have a responsibility to be intentional in creating it.
That's right.
To set some groundwork and to make sure other people, you're creating the safe space, and also making sure that the people in it trust that you're going to maintain that safe space. Like that can be a hard thing. So sometimes it might look like just being true to your no-show policy, right? Like it might be something as hard as that. But if you can be consistent and consistency and verbalizing what a safe space is, it will help people have even more trust in that.
You could be open, but still have boundaries.
Yes.
You can be vulnerable and still be strong. And I think that can be hard for us. And I don't know if that's generational, if it's being in a largely woman-driven entrepreneurial environment, but that can be hard for us to find that combination. I think when we find that combination, people are attracted to it.
Yeah. I think, and I think of it, I guess, as a mom. So we have a 12-year-old daughter right now, and we are
who's fantastic, by the way.
Thank you. She is. But we are really in the middle of figuring out a lot of things around, phones. Like, what does phone usage look like? What does time with friends look like? What does communication look like? And my husband and I talk a lot that, like, we need communication amongst the two of us, and then we need to communicate it to her. And it's really important that we do it now, that we set really clear boundaries and expectations.
Right.
And so we've been having those conversations actually just the past few days, and we have found that she kind of lights up. And it's like she's taking a deep breath once she knows what those expectations are, and once she knows what the boundaries are. And they're pretty clear ones. I mean, we lay pretty clear boundaries out for her. But that gives her a sense of safety, that we're not saying, hey, it's your responsibility to figure this out on your own. Right. Go for it. Do whatever you want. And so I try to remember that when I want to be liked, when I want to be the one who's fun, when I want to be the one saying, say whatever you want, do whatever you want, when I want to respond to a social media post because I'm really mad about it and I want to throw it up there, I have to say, okay, what are my expectations for myself? And then what is this doing to help create a safe space for other people? And I think it's different for all of us, but it's really, that's what I try to go back to, is remembering that boundaries can be very helpful to a lot of people and can actually, you can use them to help create a safe space for others.
The first time we had this safe space conversation was at a Momentum Fest.
That's right.
Yeah. Talk to me about your idea when you were giving sort of, building the Momentum Fest.
I found, because I was thinking about it actually leading up to this conversation, because I was so excited to come here. Like, I was so excited to see you and Shannon and everyone I knew. Everyone here has always allowed me to show up exactly how I am, who I am. I don't have to be anyone else. And not everyone in Pilates has offered that necessarily. Not every organization in Pilates has offered that to me as a professional during my career. And so with Momentum Fest, that's what I think I was trying to do, is how can we create a space that everyone can just show up completely as they are? There's no judgment. There are no rules. We're just going to move our bodies and be together. So that was my goal with it. And then I realized, working with Jessica Van at the time, doing some DEI work for Momentum Fest, that I was trying to create a safe space, but it was how I envisioned a safe space to be, like for me in this body. I hadn't thought to ask other people in different bodies and different abilities, different multitudes of life experiences. What does a safe space look to you? And so that really it opened my eyes to how I was still limited and how I needed to ask other people, what does this look like to you? Because it is different for all of us. It really is.
Totally different for all of us. And I mean, that goes back to perspective. We can't look at it through our own eyes. We have to ask through the perspective and eyes of others, right? I think you really did a lovely job of that with Momentum Fest. I mean, and it taught me an awful lot about, gosh, you said it earlier, that we could put people in a space, but if we don't have the intentionality behind that, we may actually lose a little bit of that. Wow, that was a big lesson, a scary lesson.
Yes.
Because then you have to admit in yourself something that's not seeing somebody else's point of view.
Yes. And it happened in a Pilates session once too. And because I feel like we learn a lesson, right? But then we're continuing to learn a lesson. I mean, it will keep coming up. And I was working with a woman in a bigger body, and it was actually in physical therapy. And I had her on the reformer, and she was trying to we were working on a move, and she said something about, this is really, really bothering my hip flexor. I'm really uncomfortable in this position. And I said, oh, I understand. Like, I've been there. And she stopped and she said, you don't understand. She said, you've never been in this body. You've never been in a body this size. And I had to stop. I said, you were right. I am so sorry. I wanted to say, or what I was trying to say was, I'm here for you, right? I will support you. Tell me how you feel. And instead, my automatic reaction was, oh, I understand. She's like, you actually don't really. And she was absolutely right. And so even just that little reframing of, instead of me saying, I understand, stopping to say, tell me more, right? Like, tell me more about how
Tell me more. What a great tool. Is it Brene Brown who talks about sympathy versus empathy? Sympathy is oh, I just got divorced. Well, at least you got married.
Yeah, right? Yes.
Whereas empathy is tell me more.
Yeah.
Help me, help me find the path for you.
Yeah, so that I can feel a little more what you're feeling.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic advice for anyone. But let's take it back to Pilates and the Pilates space. Is there a way in which the movement itself invites community or starts to build that sense of connectedness?
I think
that's greater than one session.
I think it absolutely can. I think movement automatically puts us into that vulnerable place. I mean, we hold so much in our bodies of our identities, of our fears, of our frustrations. And then if you add any trauma and chronic pain on top of it and societal expectations, I mean, everything, right? Like it's right there in our bodies. So asking someone to move either in front of you if you're the teacher or to move in a class with new people, there are a lot of layers to that. And so I think it absolutely can promote community. But I don't think we can assume it will. I think, again, as teachers, we need to be intentional about it because it really can also, if you've ever taught a class or if you've ever been that person who's a beginner in a class and you're not welcome.
Could be alienating, right?
Yes, absolutely. It can actually cause a bigger crack in that person's relationship with their body if It is not intentional if the community isn't already there. And I think that's where the teacher's intentionality with it starts. I mean, if from the very beginning, students are used to hearing, being a beginner is awesome. Oh my gosh, this is great. And this is your modification for it. And this
Right.
is this. If they are used to that from the beginning, then they're going to support that beginner walking in. If the class is used to, we all do this on this exact count, and this
Right.
is how we
Yep.
do it, and don't fall back, they're not going to support that newbie. So it absolutely can build community, but it has to be intentional.
So in what ways do you think so you created Momentum Fest because actually you saw an opportunity to do just that, to be intentional and to build and to create a space. I think you were profoundly successful in your efforts in doing that. How do you see today, now we're several years post-COVID, Pilates is on this ascendancy. Where do you see the need today for community?
I think it's gotten smaller again, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think sometimes we think the word community needs to be really big, right? Like a
Right.
lot of people. I think community can be you and two other people. I mean, as a community. And so I kind of feel like the power can again be small classes, one-on-one sessions,
Mm-hmm.
but in some ways thinking outside the box on what that looks like. Does it look virtual? Does it look like shorter classes or trying to make it more affordable for people because we're just in a place that it's just harder to access. It's still hard to access as it has
Right.
been for
No,
a long
no
time, right?
matter how popular it is, it's still relatively hard
Yes,
to access.
right. So
Yes.
how can we take the idea of community and the benefits from it, but really apply it to people where they are right now? Like
Mm-hmm.
again, is it location accessibility? Is it financial accessibility? What is that? So for me, and that's what I've been even trying to brainstorm because I still miss Momentum Fest, but what would that look like in a different setting or in a different place, a different time? How can we keep the idea of community going where we are in the world right now?
It almost sounds to me like you're looking to create experiences.
Yeah, I think so.
Bring people to or attract them to some kind of a common or shared experience.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's how Momentum Fest
Yeah.
felt to me. It felt less like a conference
Yes.
and more like a communal experience.
Yes. And I think a 10-pack of Pilates classes can be that too. Like it really
Right.
can.
I think
Yeah.
you can do that as a 10-pack of Pilates. I
Yep.
think you could do that as, when you're doing individual sessions.
Mhm.
I mean, so much of that comes directly back to sort of the how you show up, the intentionality piece. So when you say you think community, like it feels like it's getting smaller, is that because Pilates is sort of growing so fast that people are looking for their place to belong?
I think it's more not necessarily that Pilates is growing too fast. I think it's more that we live in such a social media 24-hour news cycle place
Mm.
that we are forcing ourselves into a really, really, really big world. I mean, that's what I feel at least all the time is how can I help this person and this person? I'm going to be in this community. There's like 20 different huge communities I want to be a part of at any given time. And I feel like I'm spread so thin in that I'm not doing any good work anywhere. Versus if I really, again, get kind of intentional about it. And going back to Jessica Vann, she talked to me about this when we were talking about Momentum Fest.
Mm-hmm.
She said, and all of this is great, keep doing it, do it in your work, do it online. But really, you need to ask yourself, what am I doing for my neighbors? Like, what am I doing at my kids' schools?
Right.
What am I doing?
Are you always showing up this way? Or are
Yes.
you only this way in your workplace? Because
Right.
then that's authenticity, isn't it?
Yeah. And then also the idea of getting really granular with it. I think because the world's so big and our access to it is so big that we've forgotten that sometimes the most powerful work we can do is right there and
Yeah.
right there in front of us.
Yeah, in the moment.
Right, exactly. And
Mm.
so when I say smaller, and it might just be where my mind has been lately, but I think more in that way that I'm trying to bring my focus, or I guess I'm trying not to forget the work I can do right in front of me right now.
Look, I love that. I think, gosh, I want to think about how I say this. We're in a lovely and fortunate position to meet lots and lots of people who are looking for ways to grow their career.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think when I say to them, you grow your career by every client you touch
Yes.
and every interaction you have. because that builds a muscle in you that transcends, and that,
Yeah.
and I sometimes feel that that's not always what they want to hear from me, right? They want to hear, oh, you do this, and then you
Yeah.
teach a workshop there, and then you'll come to this conference, or you'll go to that thing. And really so much of it is actually coming home and working in your spaces and working on your clients, and that trust, and that is what grows.
Yes. Yep. And I mean, I can say, I love having the platform I have. I'm so privileged to have it. It's how I can do the work that I do now, since I don't have my studios anymore. And also, I remember the names of hundreds of clients I saw in person.
Yeah.
I remember their faces. I remember their families. I remember their injuries.
Yep.
There is power in that. And so I just don't want people to discount that, because sometimes we do want to skip ahead to, the bigger thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely.
But is there really anything bigger than that, the client?
Right. I think just numbers, right? I mean, we want the likes and we want the numbers and we want all of that. And yes, growing your career is great. But again, I think when you can create your own community small with the clients in front of you, it might just be 5, but it really helps you develop your own idea of community.
That's right.
And then you can take that, and it's like the circles that move out, like the ripples in water, right? Like it'll move outward, and it might get bigger and more numbers, but it'll still remain true to who you are.
Right. You're bringing yourself along that path instead of trying to be something you think others want you to be. Mm-hmm. Join us for Pilates on Tour by Balance Body, where Pilates comes alive at world-class events around the globe. From New York to London and beyond, we gather instructors, enthusiasts, and experts to explore Pilates methodologies in fresh ways. Attend workshops, take classes, network, and get inspired. Discovered sessions like working with athletes, Pilates for rehabilitation, creative exercise stacking, and Pilates for special populations. Learn more at pilates.com/events. And again, going back to 1 million followers, that's the challenge, isn't it?
Yes.
Is really sort of staying true to yourself. A lot of what you're saying, the word empowerment comes to mind. And also knowing you, I think that's a central theme in who you are, is empowering others. Mm-hmm. How does that manifest itself for you, both professionally and personally?
I feel, and I wonder sometimes too, just where it first came from. I can say from my early days as a physical therapist, I would give people their exercises. Here's your home program. Here's your home program.
Did they do it?
Right. So that's it. Sometimes, and sometimes they wouldn't. And I remember at some point saying, you know what, I just can't follow you home and make you do it.
Right.
I said, so it is up to you. Like, because people would come and apologize to me.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry I haven't done it. You do not have to apologize to me, because I will still go home. I will still be with my kids tonight. My life actually doesn't change. I don't mean that bad. It's just true. This is for you. Like, so don't apologize to me. It is your choice if you do these or not, and if you're going to then get better. And so I think it even started then of I can help guide, because I'm going to pass my knowledge on to you, but I want to then give you the tools to make the choices for you, because I won't be with you all the time. So knowing how to say yes to this exercise, or to say no, to tell your own instructor, that's not right for my body today, to go into your doctor and advocate for yourself and say, please don't leave the room. I'm not done with my questions yet. You can sit back down, doctor. Like, we still have a conversation to have. So it's really about giving people agency in their own bodies, because so much of the time we don't have that. We feel so disconnected from our bodies that we don't know how to listen. We don't know how to make choices. And so that's the empowerment piece. I want to give people back the agency, and for them to feel good about making the right choices for themselves.
Right. Be advocates for themselves.
Yes.
I just bought, full disclosure, I just bought a smart board for my office because I have sticky notes everywhere. So instead of doing them everywhere, I can do them on different pages on my smart board. But it didn't come with directions. So I got on the internet and I downloaded the directions, and I was reading through them. And I remember thinking to myself, I wish I could download directions for my body.
Yes.
Because it's really just poking and figuring things out, right, as you go along. So you have to be your own advocate. You have to feel empowered and have information. What was that like for you? And forgive me for going into some personal stuff here, but what was that like for you when you went from practitioner to patient?
I So I was first in the hospital when I was 8 years old, is where it all began. So I sometimes I think I might have been patient first, actually, when I
Oh,
really think
interesting.
about it. I
Yeah.
think it led me to kind of my career, and it's gone back and forth because at this point I've had 6 surgeries for endometriosis and, yeah, hysterectomy and then
Oh,
breast
gosh.
cancer. And so I can't unravel it all in some ways. But I do know that when I think of empowerment, it isn't always cheerleader, yay, I'm here. Like I got first place. I
Right.
made it to the medal despite everything. Sometimes empowerment means knowing you have to say no to something. Like it's knowing this body of mine that I'm so grateful for. I can't do that exercise. Like I think you had sent me some questions before, and one of them was, "What's your least favorite Pilates exercise?" Okay, swan dive. Swan dive between prolapse and a mastectomy. I am not doing the
Right.
swan
Not
dive.
happening today. Yeah.
No, but I am still really empowered because I know to say no to that. And that is part of what makes me more empowered because I can say, yep, my body, we can do that. And no, I'm not jumping rope, honey,
Hmm.
to my daughter. I will leak through my pants. I'm not doing that. And that's empowerment. And so I think it's helped me just to understand what real strength is, and how to just bring some people along with me in that because I know what it's like to feel broken. I really do.
Yeah, gosh, again, so much to unpack there. One of the things that I've always thought has been spectacular about Pilates spaces is you actually get to um, look at what real strength is because it's always paired with um, the people who walk in the door. Um, you ask them to take off their shoes, they put them away, you sit, you put them on a reformer or a trap table, you ask them to breathe, then you ask them to move. The story, starts to come and it's their story and however it's manifested. But you learn that strength, so much of strength is very internal.
Mhm.
Um, in finding that for yourself, did that change your approach to clients? Does it change anything, or does it really just give you more of that sense of, or that empathy, that greater sense of empathy?
I think empathy, and I think too, it feels like sometimes, the longer you go in a career, the older you get, the more you realize what you don't know, right? Like
Yeah, you
I
got to
look
embrace
back to,
that. I
yes,
got to embrace that.
I look back to how sure I was about things in my early 20s. Like I
Yeah.
was so sure.
Remember that your
And
daughter's 12.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah, I know. And realizing, well, I guess going through perimenopause now and leading into that menopausal transition of, oh, okay, yep, here we are in this new body.
that's
So
right.
this is what that feels like. So it's empathy, but also, yeah, being open to nuance, that it's not black or white with our bodies, despite what all the books will tell you. It's not black or white. We need to be open to
I'm still
nuance.
looking for part 2, letter C, that tells me like what my pelvic floor is going to do in the next
Right.
5 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because it's different for all of
Yes.
us. And so I
Yes.
think I'm
The
more,
pelvis section, part
yeah,
C.
here it comes any day now. I think I'm more
Roman numeral 5.
open when clients say, I'm feeling this, but the doctor says it doesn't make sense. I'm more open to the puzzle of the human body, to the nuance of it, to,
Right.
you know what? That's not necessarily what the books say, but let's just try this. Let me just see because you never know what your body can do or what it can't do.
Right.
So yeah, I'm more open to what I don't know, more open to nuance, more open to let's just try it and see because your body really might surprise you.
I'm getting kind of very excited because when you say things like that, I'm like, wow, if we actually could bring those to communal spaces or really find ways of sharing that message, what a great movement world we create where people actually can get out of the way of right and wrong, yes or no,
Yeah.
and be more oriented toward experience.
Yes. And I think too, it really can be the big, hard counting classes if you want them to be.
Yes,
I
of
mean,
course.
there's room for gentle, there's room for the music. I love all of it. But yeah, if you come back to the idea of when someone walks in that door, when they roll out their mat, they know I'm safe to be whoever I need to be and whoever I want to be today. It might even be different than who I was yesterday, but I'm empowered to make my decision in what class I want to be at. And I trust this teacher in front of me to know that and let me do what my body can do.
You know, I was recently in a class, back-to-back classes, right? And I had one class, one instructor. Both instructors were terrific. One instructor was just really, you could feel it. We were just going through it. And I was like, great, it's a fantastic workout. I'm going to take take from it what I can, leave behind what I need to leave behind. The second instructor almost did exactly the same thing because, it's pretty much a script in a way, but did something a little different. Called people out by name. Joey, you're doing a great job with da-da-da. Joy, I love that you did da-da-da. So-and-so, you did da-da-da. And I also knew that she was just sort of looking in the back, at who was where and in what station, right? But just by calling the name inspired more engagement, right? The whole room, the energy of the room was completely different. So again, it speaks to that idea that it doesn't matter, right? It could be a very specific 20-person class where you're really going through, did I hit A, B, C, and D? But how you show up and what you offer, it can give a license for an experience.
Yes. And then it allows the other participants to do the same thing. So they'll go up to each other after class and say, that was so great. Can you show me how you did that? Or, oh my gosh, my back really hurts. I could never do that. And then the person feels safe saying, of course you can.
What happened?
I couldn't do it 4 months ago, but now I can.
Yes, but I'm going to tell you that's exactly what happened. The first class, we all walked out of the room, got our shoes, walked out the door, right? The second class, people lingered.
Yes.
People lingered. We were like, Joey, you're here all the time. We love you. We follow, it became
community.
Yes.
It became community.
It was communal, like in that moment. And that was a real, lovely just opportunity to remind myself that it can be that simple.
Yes, it can, because you're giving other people permission to do the same. And I think those are the classes then that the women share recipes at the end, right?
Permission.
And they go for walks together after. And then they say, oh, I made these muffins. I brought a few extra for you. That is community.
Yeah, it's really just creating the space for that to happen.
Yeah. And it has to start with the instructor or whoever. I mean, it can be a manager, it can be somebody online, but it does have to start with someone. I think sometimes we wait for someone else to take that initiative.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we can wait anymore. I don't know. I think we have to be leaders in it, and it doesn't have to be big. It really doesn't. It can just be opening up with a question, whether it's online or in person. Open it up with a question. How are we feeling today? What are your struggles today?
Right.
Because these are mine. Oh my gosh, what are yours?
Right. In an interesting way, right? The sharing of your own experiences really helps people, helps other people have empathy, right? Because I sometimes do think, and I'll go back, I'll say back in the day, you would walk into a studio and the studio was just, was curated in a particular way to have a particular feel, and everything felt other. I know, I've been very open. I always felt other, right? Which I think is really funny. I think my appeal today is because I'm other in a funny way. I hung around long enough to be to be popular.
Your trend came around.
Yeah, I'm
Joy.
trending now, right? But it was like I was waiting for people to create that space. So for me, I always that was the space I wanted to create for my clients, and they responded to it. They would always say, "I'm here because you're you." If I wanted that, I would, and then when I came to Balanced Body, and then obviously when we met in Momentum Fest, it was one of the topics that we discussed. I think you're right. Like we can't wait anymore. I feel like I wasted a lot of really good early years waiting for someone to create that space for me.
Yeah.
And we just really needed to create it for ourselves. I guess that's one lesson, but also for future generations.
Yeah. and bring people along with us.
Yeah.
And I think you talk about like wasting time. Sometimes I look back, I wanted so badly to be accepted by the larger, what I interpreted as the larger Pilates community at the time. 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And I tried so hard to fit myself into the box of having the right training. I didn't have the right training. I didn't have the right background. I didn't have all the right,
Tick, tick, tick. I understand.
all the right things. And when I finally just said, you know what, I can't do that. Like it wasn't necessarily giving up, but it was kind of a, you know what, I can't actually. I can never be that because I'm not. So I'm just going to do my thing over here. Like I guess this is what I'm going to do. Because this is what I want to do anyway. And that's absolutely what allowed people in. And for me to then find my voice of, oh, this feels right to me. Like it just settled, like a deep breath of, oh, this, okay. And then finding the people who taught me so much, through Momentum Fest, and the colleagues now who I respect so much of, oh, they never asked me to be different than who I am. Huh.
Once you accepted,
Yeah.
right? You showed up in your own self-acceptance, right?
Yeah.
And I know a lot of these things sound like buzzwords, right? Oh,
Mhm.
acceptance, vulnerability, empathy, compassion. But it's actually belonging. It's actually all true.
Yeah, it is. And it's so much easier said than done. I mean,
And it's so much easier said than done. What I also think is really interesting, and I'd like to share this with our listeners, is Jessica, as you sit here, you are that girl, right?
Mhm.
You are the package, right? There's no reason you should have felt
Right.
in any way outside of Pilates acceptance, but you did. And I think people need to understand that we actually all come from our own experiences about whether or not we're accepted or not.
Yes.
That we shouldn't make assumptions. I should not make assumptions of you that you should have felt really welcome, right? Or that I was not being accepted for who I am, right? We bring ourselves into a space, and I think if we can understand just that, then whoever walks in our door, we immediately give sort of a wide enough berth for them to feel like this might be a good place for them to be.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Yep. Because you're right. On the outside, it looks like, oh, well, she's someone who should definitely fit in. And for me, the little piece was my education wasn't right. Like I didn't come from a lineage. I didn't come from anything.
Right.
So my Pilates education wasn't right, which is just one little teeny piece in all of it.
But it felt big to you, didn't it?
Yes, absolutely. At the time, it felt big.
So let's not dismiss it.
Right.
And at the time, it was big.
Yeah. And I think Pilates, and I don't necessarily think Pilates is unique in this. I mean, it's fitness as a whole. It's really the world as a whole, right? Pilates is just a microcosm of everything in the world. Right. I mean, cliques and all the clubs and all the things. But we have to find a way to respect other people, even if they do things differently, even if they are different, with different life experiences. Like if we can lead with respect and knowing that that person knows themselves better than I know them.
Right.
That person can probably make a decision for themselves better than I can make a decision for them. So let me hear, let's make this a back and forth, not a hierarchy of me being in charge of you.
Changing now, there's many ways to look at that. Changing that hierarchy of me being in charge of you as the client, right? That's really actually lovely. You're creating a two-way engagement. I think that two-way engagement is part of what's always made Pilates very sticky for people. And then if we, as a sort of cultural group of Pilates instructors, can have that same level of respect for each other, and I always think at the end of the day, clients everywhere, regardless of how somebody practices, walk away feeling like better and more in tune with their body. They meet their body where they're at, and it empowers them to walk the pyramids, or to play with the grandkids, or to sign up for a marathon.
Yep.
Right? Like, does it matter that your education was different than mine? Did we all end up going to the same place?
Right. And what you said earlier, you talked about going into the class, and you said you took, you said, I'll take what I can from it and I'll leave the rest. I'll take what I need and I'll leave the rest. Like that is empower. Like that's the definition of empowerment to me, that you walked in and you felt comfortable saying, you know what, I don't need to verbalize this necessarily. I know myself and I'm going to do the entire class and it is fine with me to take this and leave this. And I think a lot of times when people don't have that empowerment and haven't been supported in that, they will leave that class and say, I did that wrong.
I did that
Right?
wrong.
Yeah, like I did it wrong. There must be something wrong with
I
me.
did spend, listen, the first few weeks I went back to class, I kind of did say that. I was like, oh, I suck. God, I suck at that.
But I think it was empowered statement for you.
Yeah. It was, I suck at that. I'm going back.
But if we can just even do that for other people, for our clients, for other instructors, I mean,
Yeah, that's right.
Just to say, you know what, take what you need. It's okay if you leave the rest, because next time you come, you actually might take something else and leave something else. I mean, every day we're having a new experience.
Yeah.
But that really is, I mean, that right there is empowerment.
Yeah, that's it, and that's exciting. And if we really just cycle this back to, you know, building communities, whether you're building community through your social and your podcast and your own clientele, or it's at some sort of a communal event. I mean, I think those are the key ingredients. Yeah. Really, those are the key ingredients. Yeah. All right, let's do a quick round. Round. Favorite Pilates exercise and why?
Seated spine twist,
why?
Because nobody in the history of the world has moved their thoracic spine enough. And I found the thoracic spine movement can solve many of our problems.
Amen to that. Listen, your heart is right in the center there. Let's just start there.
That's right.
Okay. Least favorite, we have
swan dive.
Swan dive. Yep. So we're definitely not going from swan dive into rocking with you.
No.
All right. Definition of Pilates.
Oh, wow. Definition of Pilates. Pilates is the way that you can find the ultimate connection with your body, which will lead you to be able to do the other things in life that you would like to do.
Fantastic. You know what I love when I ask that question, definition of Pilates? No one ever says, you know, like the 100. Right? It's the definition of Pilates is really more personal and conceptual. Yeah, great. Where do you see Pilates going in the future? And I say that knowing 5 years ago, if I said that to you, would you have thought this was our future?
Not necessarily.
So good luck with this one.
Yeah. What's amazing about Pilates is it seems to stay consistent and also change all the time. I mean, it's amazing to me that it is having a big resurgence now. So people will come to me, oh my gosh, Pilates, it's growing and it's doing that. I'm like, well, but it's been around for a really long time. It's not that different.
Yeah.
So somehow Pilates changes and stays the same. And I find a lot of comfort in that, as well as excitement. And I mean, just talking to you guys before this podcast, I think you're right on the edge of whatever's coming next.
You know, you want to talk about empowerment? I'm empowered by what you just said, that it changes and it stays the same, because I think we all are embracing this moment and fearful of this moment at the same time. Like, oh, well, what does this mean for Pilates? But through the changes over the last 30 years, right? Its first bump was in 2000, at least, you know, in our modern thought processes. It changed. There were different educations. There were different ways in which to approach the work, but it stayed the same. And if we have that same mindset going into this next moment, I think wherever we come out of this sort of immediate rise of the group reformer, wherever we come out with Pilates in a new space. I thank you for that. That was empowering and inspirational. What do you hope for the larger Pilates community? And that could be very broad.
I hope that we can find, the joy and the nuance and just making space for all the differences. That's what I hope.
Okay. Now, I would imagine that many people want to get more of you, those who are not already following you. So how can our listeners find you?
Online, I'm jessicavallant.com. And then, on Instagram, I'm there a lot, Jessica S. Vallant. And then YouTube, Jessica Vallant is the YouTube channel. And I have hundreds of videos there that you can do at home.
Okay. And the name of the podcast again?
Meet Your Body.
Meet Your Body. Jessica Valand, I just want to say thank you so much. I always enjoy our conversations, and I was really very much looking forward to this.
Me
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you.